There's one very important feature in Less Annoying CRM we haven't covered yet, and that's a tool called pipelines. A pipeline is basically a way to keep track of any type of process or workflow from start to finish. The most common use of pipelines is to track sales leads, but pipelines are also extremely customizable. You can track all kinds of other things, including customer service, recruiting, business development, and even projects. Whatever your business needs to track, there's a good chance it can be done with the pipeline feature. I'll start by showing you how the default lead pipeline works, and then later in this video, I'll show you how to set up more pipelines to track other types of things. So let's look at leads. Leads are always linked to a contact or company, so first I'm going to bring up a contact. This is John, and right now there isn't a lead attached to him, but I can add one by clicking on Lead on the left side of the screen. Each lead has a status. By default, I have 4 statuses to choose from: Prospect, Qualified Lead, Sale Won, and Sale Lost. This list of statuses can be customized to match your workflow. I'll show you how to do that later on in this video. Let's say this is a brand new lead, so I'll choose Prospect for my status. I can also set a priority, enter a note, and even set a task so I remember to follow up with this contact later. After I save the lead, it shows up on John's contact profile. Now let's say a couple of days have passed and I talk to John again and I want to upgrade him to the status of Qualified Lead. No problem. From here on the lead badge on his profile, I just click on this Update and View link and change the status to Qualified Lead. It's generally a good idea to enter a note anytime you update a lead so that you build up a full history of your interactions with that lead over time. I'll quickly enter some text about my most recent conversation with John here. I'll save the form and the contact's profile is updated. Not only does the new status show up here on the lead badge, but the activity feed also has a record of all past updates so that I can come back later and see exactly how this lead progressed over time. This is also helpful if you have multiple users on your account, as it allows managers to check on the progress of leads that are being managed by their team. To see all of my active leads, I'll go to the lead report from the navigation bar at the top of the CRM. This page will list every contact and company with an in-progress lead attached to them. From here, I can quickly view and update my leads from one place. After I call a lead, I can just use the Quick Edit button along the right side of the page to enter any information on the lead status, make additional notes, and when I save, the report will automatically update to reflect my changes. If I go back to edit this lead again, you'll notice that the last 2 statuses say closed. That means that once I assign that status to a lead, they're no longer considered an active lead, and they'll automatically be removed from this report. This doesn't delete the lead from my system, it just removes them from this report so that I can focus on my active leads. If I want to find my closed leads later, I can do that with this filtering option at the top of the report. Okay, so that's how the default lead pipeline works. Now let's take a look at how to create a custom pipeline from scratch to track a totally different kind of workflow. First, I'll go to my settings page, and then click on the pipelines option here. On this next page, there's a video that talks much more about the pipeline customization options, so you can watch that if you really want to understand the ins and outs of this tool. The main column has a list of my pipelines. By default, I just have my lead pipeline, but any additional pipelines you create will show here. Let's say that my company sells a few different physical products, and that after I mark someone as a completed sale, I need to track the actual fulfillment of the order, preparing and shipping the products to my customer. I'll start by clicking the big button at the top of the list. I'll need to choose a name for my pipeline. I'll call this my order pipeline, and an icon that matches the theme. Then I'll click Create. On this page, we'll set up how this pipeline works and change its structure. Right now, of course, I'm editing my brand new order pipeline, but you could actually go back to your original lead pipeline and use all these same options to make changes there. The main column here is where I can set up this workflow statuses. Make sure to have at least one active status and one closed status, or else the pipeline reports typically won't work very well. I'll quickly build out a full set of statuses here so you can get a sense of my order fulfillment process. Once that's done, over in the left column, I can also add custom fields to this pipeline to store additional information about each order. For example, I might want to create a drop-down list where I can track which products this customer will be receiving. So I'll create something to hold that information. Maybe I also want to capture the amount of the sale and the target date for shipment. For the shipment date, I'm also going to check a box marking this as the name of the pipeline so that this order uses the shipment date as the order's name when I look at it from the contact record. These custom fields let you keep track of just about anything, so feel free to get creative. Once I have my pipeline set up, I can start attaching orders to contacts and companies just like you did with leads. Let's say that John is one of my customers and I just converted him to a sale and am processing his order. I'll just attach an order to his record from the left column of his profile. You'll see the statuses I created as options in this first dropdown and the custom fields that I added to show up below that. I'll just quickly fill out the details and save this new order for John. Just like with my lead pipeline, a badge appears at the top of the contact profile to show that an order is in progress. This new pipeline also gets its own separate report, just like we saw with leads. The navigation bar at the top of the page has changed a little bit since I've added more than one pipeline. I'll mouse over pipelines, and now I'll be given links to my two separate pipeline reports. If I pull up my orders report, I'll see all of the active orders, along with the order details from my custom fields here in the center column of the report. As I finish fulfilling orders, I just close them out and they're removed from view. That's a pretty quick overview of the pipelines feature. I know this feature involves a bit more setup than most parts of the CRM, but it's also the most powerful, personalized feature we offer. If you're at all confused by the customization options, or you aren't sure if you're making the best use of your pipelines, please get in touch with us here at Less Annoying CRM. One of our CRM coaches will be happy to get you on the phone and help build out the perfect pipeline for your business. Or if you've already done some customization, we're always happy to look over what you've set up to look for red flags and offer advice. Once you're ready to move on to the next topic, come back to this guide.